28th of January, Rabbi Levitt, Pele, Yoetz. Yechiel's not going to be coming. I called Meir, but I didn't get an answer. Alan's calling me now. Hello, Alan.
Okay, Alan.
Hi, I'm hosting. Alan? Yes, I'm hosting. I'm sorry, say that again?
Good. Preparation. We did preparation.
Just waiting for Alan to work out what to do.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah. Yeah. No, Lou has just gone off screen to talk with Alan.
Okay.
The moment.
I gotta send Alan a link.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Where's my link?
No.
Okay, I sent it to him.
Okay, good.
So I left a message for Meir. I didn't actually talk to him.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
And Yechiel's not coming. He's one share was all he could handle for today.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that he's able to make it to one share, though. That's good.
Yeah.
Hashem.
Yeah, it's really good to see that he's recovering.
Hashem. Okay. So yesterday we started this very interesting entry of hachana, preparation, or hachana, however it is you want to pronounce it. And he starts right off with the Shabbos, and he says something very interesting over here, that even though that in the Gemara, the Gemara in Shabbos mentions how all the great Amoraim of the Gemara, they made sure to come home or to go to the marketplace or whatever it is that they had to do, and they did. They all of them. It seems that the Gemara is saying that not just one of them, but many of them used to go to the trouble of personally doing some activity to prepare for Shabbos, because of the great mitzvah of Shabbos, to do not simply to be Shomer Shabbos, but to guard the Shabbos when it's Shabbos and not do malacha, but also to prepare for it. There's a great mitzvah that they all were doing, but the Pele Yoetz says here, to me, seems to be I never actually heard that before. I don't know if he says that, but that's only because they were able to, while they were doing their Shabbos preparations, they were able to also think in learning, and even though they were involved in, it says over here, Rabbi Avram Alevi, he was involved in buying and preparing Shabbos necessities, and he would do everything himself because the mitzvah is of preparing for Shabbos is a great mitzvah that one cannot do. You can't really give to someone else. The that. I think it's like tefillin. That's what we were saying yesterday. You can't tell somebody to put on tefillin for you. It has to be put on your arm and on your head. And so it's not like the Gemara that he says over here. He's quoting the Gemara in Kedushin that yes, you could tell a agent to go and be Makadish, a woman for you. But even like that, the Gemara says it's better that you do it yourself. It's a greater mitzvah like that than telling someone else to do it. But he says, after all of that, that we should it's better for us if we stay at home and occupy ourselves with Torah study and acquire new knowledge, as opposed to going out and spending time and making preparations. But however, don't tell your wife that I said this. But anyway, I didn't say it. That's what the Pele Yoetz says. But it's just an interesting he says that if it's possible for a person, he has a butler, he has somebody who can do all the preparations. Theoretically, it would be better if he would just be involved with Torah as opposed to being involved with the great mitzvah of preparing for Shabbos. Thought it was a big chiddush. This is on the bottom of page 209. Okay. And also important, he said that in regard to he does say at the end of the day, he says in any case a person should minimally purchase something or perform some preparation. He does say that. For example, to arrange the table or set the candles or weave the wicks to fulfill the mitzvah of preparing for Shabbos, because the disciples of the Rizal said that the setting of the candles should be done by the husbands according to Kabbalah. So that brings us to page 210, and a round of applause for 209, and another round of applause for reviewing it.
Hooray!
Hooray! Now we'd like to call on Lou to continue with page 210.
Likewise, any preparation that a person does for any mitzvah is itself considered as a mitzvah. As such, a man who performs all of his deeds for the sake of heaven is constantly involved in doing a mitzvah. How good is it for a person to express with his lips before each action that he is doing it as preparation for a mitzvah? For example, before eating, he should say, "Behold, I am coming to eat and drink in order that my body should be healthy and strong to do the service of my God." Prior to sleeping, he should say, "Behold, I am going to sleep in order that my mind should be clear and settled for the sake of the service of God." Before he goes to work, he should say, "Behold, I'm going to work and striving to make a profit with divine assistance in order to provide for my household as my Creator commanded me, and in order that I should be able to do charity, acts of kindness, and all the mitzvot properly." Similarly, he should conduct himself in this way when he builds a house, sews a garment, or any other action. His words will bear fruit such that spirituality and holiness will infuse these physical matters, and it will be considered a mitzvah for him. Furthermore, he receives a reward also for these words, on condition that his actions will agree with his words. He should not eat and drink too much to bloat his stomach. Rather, the righteous man eats for the satisfaction of his soul. He should not sleep excessively, and he should not be driven and exhausted by the pursuit of wealth. For there is nothing that can prevent God from saving or making someone rich. whether with little or much human effort. Since this person is doing everything for the sake of the service of his maker, he should never nullify his service because of eating, sleeping, or business. If he does, his actions speak louder than his words, and the one who sits in heaven will laugh at him. Since he is doing everything for the sake of a mitzvah, he must be very diligent that it should not be a mitzvah that comes through sin. Therefore, he must be very careful that his eating, drinking, and business should be in accordance with Jewish law. And then they will be ultimately considered a mitzvah, and he will be rewarded for them. A person must be careful about his food to prefer that which is beneficial over something that might be more tasty but harmful. But not only will it not be desirable for God and not considered a mitzvah, he even will be punished for violating the Torah, what the Torah said, you shall diligently protect your lives.
Hey. This is a tremendous principle over here that the Pele Yoetz is pointing out. That we could really, if what we're looking to do is do mitzvahs and do the Ratzon Hashem, that's why we do whatever mitzvahs that we do, because we want to do the Ratzon Hashem. We learn Torah because that's what Hashem wants us to do. And so he's saying, even when a person might think he's not doing any mitzvah whatsoever, he's eating, he's sleeping, he's doing business, he says, no, absolutely not. All those activities are really mitzvahs if you think about it in the right way. And more than that, it really makes it into a mitzvah. You go to sleep and you'll get 8 hours of mitzvahs. That's pretty good. So if you sleep 8 hours. Anyway, so so very good. So that's a very important thing here that he says here, the Pele Yoetz. Okay, so we go to Roy for a continuation. Oh, and this is I wanted to mention over here. I just see it right now. I just skipped over it. He's talking here about the last few things that he's saying over here about his eating. So if he's going to think to himself that the reason why I'm eating right now really is to serve Hashem. So what does that mean? That means that my body should be healthy, my mind should be clear, and that way I'll be able to stay out of the hospital and be in the base medrash or be on the Zoom and do mitzvahs. And but he says that so according to that, you have to make sure that what you eat is actually healthy. So, but I wanted to add actually that true, you can't just eat unhealthy things all day because you like what it tastes like, but sometimes a person has to eat things that he enjoys because both for his physical welfare, both for his emotional welfare, as well as for his physical well-being. I think I've said it before. There's a famous story that's quoted in a sefer that with Rebbe Elyashiv that someone was in touch with Rebbe Elyashiv about a friend or relative who was the doctor had prescribed a whole list of foods that he has to eat now, and Rebbe Elyashiv, lo and behold, he wanted to know what was on the list. And of course, the doctor had all sorts of foods, none of them having any sugar in them, none of them having any salt. Everything was very bland. And Rabbi Elyashiv said, go ask the doctor why he's. I want to have a few questions for the doctor. So he tells the person to go ask these questions, and then when the person comes back, Rabbi Elyashiv wrote a new list of recommended foods, and a few of the foods included foods that are known to have sugar, and known to have salt, and known to have this, and known to have that. And the person said, "What? 1 second. I mean, what is Rabbi Elyashiv? What's the Rav doing?" He says, "I don't have time to explain to you right now. Come back later." And so, anyway, he came back later, and he showed him. Do you remember the Rashi in I don't remember what the Masechta was. He says, the Rashi in Masechta. So he says, go pull out the Gemara and let's take a look at the Rashi. So Rabbi Elyashiv showed him this Rashi, and you want to know where the Rashi is? It's a Rashi in Gemara Brachos, 62b. Okay. The Gemara in Brachos. Does anybody want to look up at the Gemara in Brachos, or I'll just say it over quickly?
Say it over quickly.
Okay. So the Gemara says over there that Bar Kapora, he would sell advice for a certain fee, and one of the pieces of advice that he would give, this is the Gemara in Brachos: eat while you are still hungry. Eat while you're still hungry. What's that all about? Rashi says that she'im tisha, because if you're going to delay to eat, tavor mimcha tavas amachal, your desire for food will leave. I don't know who he's talking to. If you delay eating, I would think you're going to get more desirous to eat food. But the Rashi looks at it a different way. But in any case, the principle you're going to hear, he says, if you're going to delay, so the desire you'll have for food will leave you. You'll say, oh, I gotta go back to learning, or whatever it is. That's what Rashi must have thought. And you know what happens when you won't have a desire to eat the food that you're eating? Says Rashi, Ein hamachal mo'il. The food will not be beneficial. So Rabbi Elyashiv explained that based upon this Rashi, we learned that if a person doesn't desire the food will not help him. And he continued to explain that the food the doctor recommended was tasteless. The patient would have had no desire to eat such food, which meant that it would not have helped the patient. So I'm not saying that you have to eat only things that you enjoy to eat. We're not saying to do that, but we have to take into account what this Rashi says and what Rabbi Elyashiv Zatzal said about this Rashi. And so therefore, that's why Rabbi Elyashiv made a new list of foods, which included many different things which the doctor's blend requirements did not include. That's the Gemara in Brachos 62b, if you want to look it up. Fascinating Gemara and a fascinating story with Rabbi Elyashiv. So in any case, the Pele Yoetz says over here, the person's got to be careful about the food that he eats, and prefer food which is beneficial over something that might be more tasty but harmful. So that will not be desirable before Hashem, and it will not be considered a mitzvah. He could say whatever he wants. I'm eating this in order to prepare for to serve Hashem. But the Pele Yoetz says that that's a joke. And not only that, he says he'll be punished for violating what the Torah said in Devarim, and this is the famous pasuk that everybody has been quoting: "V'tishmor es nafshoseichem ad ma'od," and you shall diligently protect your lives. Just want to take a look at this pasuk over here. Sure, you want to take a look at this pasuk, though, right? So just take a minute.
Which pasuk is it?
This is the pasuk in Devarim
4:15.
4:15. What I'd like to know is it clear from the pasuk that it's talking about staying away from which type of dangers is the pasuk referring to? Okay. Martem ma'od l'nafshaseichem. Oh, okay. That's the first thing that you have to know. When you go to read a pasuk, you realize that the way that you've been quoting it for the last 2 years has not been the correct way to quote it.
You said 4:15?
Yeah, chapter 4, verse 15.
Doesn't seem to have anything to do with it. This is Devarim, right? Devarim.
Yeah, so it's called Devarim Atem Shomim Utmuna. Oh, it's very interesting.
There's no Rashi on it.
There's no Rashi on it. But it's interesting that yeah, I mean, we could spend a whole discussion about this, but basically, this pasuk, on the face of it, is if you take a look, if you go all the way back to the beginning of the Aliyah Sheni, this is Moshe Rabbeinu speaking to Klal Yisrael about how Hashem has commanded Klal Yisrael in all sorts of chukim and mishpatim, and you have to, and he's commanding that you do them, the care of haaretz, and guard yourselves, and do them, because this is your chachma that people will know you by. This is because they'll say this is a great nation that's so close to Hashem, and etc. And then closer to our pasuk, it's. I mean, this is referring to Har Sinai. After Har Sinai, Moshe Rabbeinu is telling Klal Yisrael. And then in pasuk Yud Beis, verse 12, Vaydaber Hashem aleichem. Hashem spoke to them. Mitoch ha'esh, spoke to them from the midst of fire. This is referring to Har Sinai. Borim atem shomim utmuna einchem roim. You did not see anything, any image of Hashem. All you experienced was my voice. And I'm gonna, and so Va'osi tziva Hashem And then Moshe Rabbeinu continues, V'osi tziva Hashem, and Hashem commanded me, the Esahi, at that time, l'lamed eschem, to teach you, chukim u'mishpatim, lasoschem, ba'aretz, asher atem ovrim shama l'rishta, you're going to go into Eretz Yisrael, and this is going to be what you're supposed to do when you get into Eretz Yisrael, to do all these things that I have commanded you in the name of Hashem. And then it says, "V'nishmartem ma'od l'nafshaseichem," and guard yourself very much. Hilo re'isem kol tmuna bayom diber Hashem aleichem b'chorev b'toch ha'esh. And again, Moshe Rabbeinu reiterates that that when you stood at Chorev is referring to Har Sinai, also has the name of Chorev, and you did not see any image on that day, and that's where it says, "V'nishmartem ma'od l'nafshaseichem," guard your soul exceedingly. It has nothing to do with eating healthy food. I mean, it wouldn't seem to be. It's not talking about that at all. So, but in any case, that's the pasuk that seems to be the pasuk that the Pele Yoetz is quoting over here. So I just wanted, so I see that he's extending the application of the pasuk to protect yourselves, even in regard to the type of food that you eat. Not only, in other words, to protect your spiritual welfare by doing the mitzvahs of Hashem, the chukim and the mishpatim that He commanded you at Har Sinai. But of course, that's what we're saying really over here, is that all of our mundane acts are not really so mundane, because they are part and parcel of our spiritual welfare, because we have to be physically healthy in order to be spiritually healthy. That's the message that we have over here. And guarding our physical health is really a mitzvah which promotes learning more Torah and doing more mitzvahs. And if that's the way we approach it, even our eating and drinking and sleeping and business is all avodas Hashem, and that's the great yesod of the Pele Yoetz. Okay, Roy, are you ready?
Yeah,
Roy, I've been waiting for the last 10 minutes.
Alan is here.
Yeah, I'm here.
So I think he's actually next.
The bottom of page 210.
Okay, Alan is next.
There's another kind of preparation, which is with a person's body in regards to that which is written in Amos. Prepare to greet your God, O Israel. This includes washing his face before the Shacharis prayer. If he is barefoot, he also needs to wash his feet. They should not be soiled. Likewise, he should prepare to greet Hashem in the manner of his clothing. Even when he prays alone in his house at night, he should not stand in prayer except in accord with the way and custom of the region to stand before a king. This is true as well when he is engaged in Torah study, and divine presence is opposite him. That he should be respectable in his dress, and he should sit in a reverent way as one sits before a king. When he sits by his table, especially when he recites the Birkas Hamazon for the king of honor, he needs to sit in a respectful manner, for this is the catering for Hashem. The awesome story of what happened to our teacher, the Rav Israel Jara, during the time of Zal, is well known. See entry, eating and drinking. How correct is it that one should be careful to don his outer garment, which is called a binash, the German overcoat of time of prayer. With our own ears, we heard about Rav being David. His path was the holy one who donned his finish when he would sit in judgment in honor of the divine persons, which rests upon the judges in court. May his merit protect us. to amend
Okay.
their input.
Okay, so, oh boy. Huh. Very good. Okay. And a round of applause for page 210. Hooray. And now we'd like to call upon Roy. Continue, page 211. There
is another kind of great preparation, the preparation of a person's mind. This means that he should not do any action suddenly, whether large or small. Rather, before the performance of any action, he should be very alert and think in his mind if it is proper to do it, or if non-performance is preferred. The person especially needs to be careful and to exercise diligence in regards to speech. The tongue is quick to speak, and the excess of speech is bad for people and bad for Shemayim, where minimizing speech is good. All of the toil of a man is for his mouth, and the profound evil of speech is well known. Therefore, before every utterance, he must clarify his words in his mind and weigh on them the scale of judgment. If it is totally necessary to speak for the sake of a mitzvah or for his own personal need, let him speak. If there's no necessity at all for these words, and all the more so if there's any concern of prohibited speech, a person should tremble, faint, and watch his mouth and tongue and be like a mute who cannot open his mouth. Our sages in Brachas 20a already said, the fruit of rashness is regret, and the value of deliberateness is 400 zuz. It is written in Mishlei 24:6, and the salvation is found in the abundance of advice. Included in this is that a person must consult his own mind and speak and seek advice from his maker.
Okay, on the other hand, I think it's accurate. It's certainly what they do say, what you hear, maybe even written in the book, that the Chafetz Chaim himself personally was very talkative. He would not refrain from speaking, and of course he was called upon to speak at various assemblies and things of this sort, but even otherwise, he was not known as someone who would not say anything. Whereas his son was very, very guarded in his speech, and so people would ask his son, "What is this? The Chafetz Chaim, he's the one that says guard your tongue, and you seem to do it much more than your father." They would tell him, he would tell them that, you know, my father, he wrote the Chafetz Chaim. He knows exactly what it is that he's able to say, and so he has no he's not nervous about speaking. But I, on the other hand, I don't I'm not an expert in my father's work, but so I have more of a so therefore I do as I do. So
I heard it said.
Yeah.
I heard it said that the Chafetz Chaim became an expert in horses in order that he could deflect the conversation if it was getting into Lashon Hara by speaking about something that people are interested in.
Huh.
In other words,
Okay.
he
very good.
had no interest in horses, according to this mimer. He had no interest in horses, but he learned about them and became very knowledgeable about them, so that he could talk about them if necessary.
Very good. That's a very good story. Right. So he not only did he guarded his own speech, but he tried to make sure that other people guarded their speech as well. That's why he wrote the Sfarim that he did for other people to benefit from, and also practically speaking, he would try to make sure that people didn't minimize their forbidden speech. Yeah, very good. That's very good. Okay, so I see it's about time.
Thank you,
So,
Rabbi.
all the best to everybody. Have a wonderful Shabbos.
You
Shabbat shalom.
too.
Shabbat
Shalom, be well, all of you. And
Well,
stay warm,
stay warm, stay dry.
stay dry and warm. But try and go to shul anyway.
That's easy for Roy to say. Where you just go out your door and upstairs, Roy?
And downstairs, about 9 or 10
downstairs.
steps. Yes.
Oh, okay.
But actually, I'm going to Bet Yaakov over on Shabbos, so it's a bit further.
Oh, okay.
Okay, have a good one.